This local sports report is presented by Homewood Suites by Hilton of Cambridge, Waterloo, a proud supporter of local sports. Call now to take advantage of Homewood's Sport Rate offer and receive a discount for your accommodation. Homewood is your home away from home for tournaments and special events. Book your stay now by calling 519-651-2888 or visit Cambridge Waterloo.homewoodsuites.com. Like everyone, the Tri-City Outlaws have been waiting a long time to get back on the field, but they are here at Waterloo, Oxford, preparing for the upcoming Northern Football Conference season. This is head coach Chris Newsome. Haven't seen you in a while, Coach. Good to see you, first of all. You're out here practicing. The vibe is what with these guys to get back at it and get the season going?
It's positive. It's been, guys have been itching to play football, and getting them out here, and you can see the numbers. It's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. We want a season to start. We want to get our first game underway. Yes, it's on the road. Hopefully it's against the defending champion, but we'll see how that works out. But yeah, we just want to get playing football.
And that home opener will take place at Laurier at Wilfrid Laurier University. That's on June 18th against the Toronto Raiders. Like you said, you'll start with a couple of games on the road there, but the home opener on June 18th. Let's talk about the mix of players you got. Obviously, I've been here and seen the veteran guys that, you know, have been here for a lot of years, but you've also got some youthful enthusiasm as well. How do all those pieces fit together, Chris, for the season?
I mean, to keep these type of programs going, you always want to get a lot of youth in it. And for the last few years, the Outlaws have been getting older and older and older. And there wasn't an influx of new guys. And when I say old, we're talking guys that are in their 35s, right? Yeah. Now we've got guys that are in their 20s. And the guys that are in their 30s are maybe one or two. And all these guys are long haul guys. So they might be here for the next 6 years. They might be here for even longer, depending on how where life takes them. Right. And that's what you need to keep these programs going, and that's what you need to rebuild the dynasty.
When you take a look at sort of the outlook for the season, what are some of the key pieces and what are some of the things, the strengths that you believe are going to allow you to pick up victories?
Well, I mean, one of the things is we've always been strong on defense. For sure, and we're going to have a very stout defense again. And the areas that we've probably been lacking a little bit over the last few years has been a strong quarterback. I mean, you can think back to the days of Jeff Nozzle and Brian Rosecat. That's when we really had, strong quarterbacks. And this year we've got three. How that's going to work out, I don't know yet. But, I mean, that's a key strength that keeps your offense moving so the defense gets an opportunity to rest.
And we'll let you know week one who the starting quarterback will be. But you mentioned the quarterback, and I want to bring up Pat Wright, who has come to the Tri-City Outlaws from the Sarnia Imperials. He's a former most valuable player in this league. What kind of presence can he bring, and how is it a perfect marriage between the Tri-City Outlaws and Pat Wright?
Well, Pat's a known commodity, for one thing. And being that he is one of the older guys, and he's been in the league, and he's got the MVP, and he's got all his accolades behind him, he's calm. Right? He doesn't panic. He's not going to be shocked by the things he's going to see in this league, about the speed of the players, because it's always one of those things. Guys go to university and they see a certain thing. They come out and they think, oh, university is the pinnacle next to being the pros, and they realize that these guys are just as dangerous because they're fast and they're big and they're strong, things that you don't expect. And Pat's already used to that. So he's going to be a calming influence, and you can already see he's lighthearted. He keeps things calm, and he's making everybody feeling easy within the group.
The other thing, too, when you bring up the university thing, Chris, is you've got a number of players as well. They are moving from, or they graduate from the OUA, and they're coming here. We're talking about McMaster. I know you got a couple players in Western, the University of Waterloo as well. Why is this an attractive place, Tri-City, for them to continue their football career?
Well, I mean, you kind of look at Tri-City and it's a history of university guys that have finished their university career and come out. I mean, I was one of the first ones, went to the University of Waterloo, and a couple of guys that I played with, and then some guys that played at Laurier. And you're in such close proximity, 3 universities right off the bat, right? That guys are like, you know what? Coach understands the university program. He understands university players, and it's a good place to fit in because I know what they have to practice like. I know what they go through, and I know what they wouldn't expect to get here when they get here. So we can kind of preempt any, preconceived notion of what's going on. So I think it's a good fit for us.
What are some of the different challenges this year? When you're in a normal season, let's say you go from 2017 to 2018 to 2019, you know what the other teams look like. You know what the rosters are like. But now you can't even really do any scouting, right? You kind of go into week one with all of those unknowns, and with your team as well. And we've talked about the chemistry, and you've got a nice mix of veteran players, university players, and younger players, and I think that's certainly a good thing. But what are some of the challenges that might be unique to this season, just based on what we've all been through?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is, like you said, you don't have an idea what anyone's going to be. So you kind of have to take a look at it and say, okay, the top two teams in 2019 were these two teams. You got to assume that for the most part, they're probably going to still be the top two teams, and you have to sort of approach it that way. You know, and there's always rumors and things that you hear from other teams where they may be weaker and where you may be stronger, but you kind of take it with a grain of salt and just say, okay, I expect that GTA is going to be the number one team again, and Hamilton's going to be maybe number two, or the vice versa, however it's going to work out, and you deal with them in that way.
Josh Reason, obviously a longtime running back here, and he's been a great builder for your program and obviously a great player. I see he's here as well now as part of the coaching staff. What's it like to have Josh here and just, all the things that he learned over the years being an Outlaw, now he's relaying all that information to the younger guys. What kind of impact can Josh have in your mind?
Well, Josh has always been a smart football player. He's got a very high football IQ. And for Josh, it's a bit of a learning curve for him too, because he's learning to be a coach as well as a player. But because he's not that far removed from playing, the guys can relate to him, right? A lot more than they can relate to me. So, I mean, even though you might have the knowledge, you might have all of that, but here's a guy that only played like 3 years ago, right? So it's a lot closer to home for the players than it is if you're talking about a guy who hasn't played in 7 years, right? So.
And if you see this on 519, we want you to know also that there are still opportunities to play for the Outlaws for the upcoming season. Just talk about that a little bit. I don't know if you're looking for something specific or you're just trying to get guys out here, and just, get them involved in football and honestly get back to sport. I think that's something that's important too, Chris. Discuss that a little bit and just the opportunities that might be here for players that see this on 519.
Well, I mean, that is the big thing, is trying to get people back out interested in playing football. Because again, when you look at the numbers and you sort of see teams that used to have 50 players may only have 35 or so, because all the veteran guys have retired. They've had a couple years to find other things to do, get involved in their kids' sports and things like that. And you want the guys that are sort of sitting there wondering, I want something to do. For the last 2 years, I've been doing nothing. Come on out and play some football, because you'd be surprised how much fun it is that you're going to have playing with the guys. And even if you've only played high school or you haven't played a number of years, come on out. It's not that hard of a stretch for you to get back into it.
Last one, just for a personal note for you, how's the last couple of years been, and what's your excitement in your head? I loved when everything kind of moved in a positive direction. I was able to get back out in the field. We're able to stand side by side and do this interview. The small things that we took for granted a couple of years ago, now are big things, but we're here and we're doing this. We're having a season. We're playing football, very soon.
Well, I'll be honest with you. For a couple of years, I was thinking it was time for me to call it a career, because all of a sudden you're looking at all these things that you're doing. Picked up golf, started doing other things, focused more on my daughter's ball, and not really missing football all that much. And then as soon as you find out you're able to go and you get to that first winter workout and you see guys running around, you see footballs flying, then you start to get that desire to come back out and coach, when you're looking at it going, hey, there's a new group of men out here that now I have the opportunity to impart some wisdom on, to try and motivate, to try to get them going. And now the itch is here. The weather's turned nice and we're all outside. It's like, let's go. Come on, it's time.
How's your golf game?
Not that good, getting better.
He is a much better coach than he is a golfer. This is Outlaws head coach Chris Newsome. Once again, the Tri-City Outlaws will play their home opener at University Stadium at Laurier. That'll be on Saturday, June 18th at 7 o'clock against the Toronto Raiders. Great to see you, Coach, and looking forward to the NFC season.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to myself.
For more highlights, visit our website, 519sportsonline.ca. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.